my lesson. So we'll start the recording right away. Now, come back to our Monday stream, okay? On Monday we met. Funny thing, gold hasn't done much since Monday, right? So we are literally very close to where we were. Price has been just consolidating for the most part on a higher time frame if you look at it, right? It's just been in a consolidation for the most part around this area, right? But we've trended upwards from there, right? From where we were on Monday. Now, on Monday, again, it's a little bit of analysis and learning from mistakes that you've done. So I'd like to show you guys, and hopefully this is a good learning. Just check MetaTrader. Bear with me. Okay, it is moving lower, so I did not get a nice optimal entry, but that's okay. As I said, if the price melts without me, that's fine, right? I'm okay with that as long as the bias is correct. We'll see if we can get in on a retest of the daily open. So before we jump back into discussion of what happened on Monday and so forth, you see how we broke the daily level just now, right? And notice how candles are pretty big. There you go, right? Candle is very, very big. So definitely a nice bias. We've been kind of like testing, 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 and we finally broke it with high volume, right? Now, what I would be looking out for is any opportunity on the retest, right? If we get that opportunity, if we get a quick move back up to continue lower, that would be lovely, right? If you don't get that, as I said, that's all right. I'm not gonna enter randomly. I'm gonna make sure that whenever I enter a trade, it's at a good spot, right? So this spot right here would have been great, but it just happened so that it was right at 8 o'clock, right? 8 p.m. As soon as 8 p.m. hit, we've had price starting to melt, right? So didn't have enough time to enter during the actual call, and I like to explain to you guys, beforehand why I do what I do, right? So I don't enter and then tell you guys, hey, look, I'm in shorts, right? Copy everybody, right? I don't believe that's value. I believe value is provided when somebody would explain and clarify as to why they're doing what they're doing and what are the reasons for them to enter a trade. So hopefully you guys feel the same way. Now, again, as I mentioned, the rules that I use are the general market trend, the RSI and so forth, right? So what we're going to try and do is wait out until the price comes back into our area of interest. And just get the chat out of the way. Don't see anything. It's also very hard for me to trade. I'm at the office today, right? So I only have one screen, and when I'm at my home setup, I have multiple screens to work with. So it's a little bit more challenging to have everything on one screen. So bear with me, guys, in situations like these. I also find it funny. Every live stream that I do, I'm drinking Celsius, right? So I do believe at some point Celsius should start sponsoring me. If you guys agree, hit some like in the comments because Celsius should start sponsoring me for drinking their energy drink every time we have a live trading session. Now, back to the topic. You see how we're coming back. So if we get the retest of it of the daily open, I would love to get in. Okay. That would be lovely. But we'll see if we get that opportunity or not. Bear with me a second. Pin, boom. Okay, so a couple things that we're going to look out for, right? Once again, we look out for price to make a retracement back up before it continues lower. So we didn't get this entry, which is fine, and this optimal entry around the order block, but that's okay. I will see if this is the temporary bottom. I would see if we can get a retracement back up. Okay. It's not going to be as aggressive. I think around 50 to 60% would be good enough for me in this case. And that would be pretty much aligning with the daily open, right? So if we get that, we'll go into shorts. But for now, we're just staying out. But again, it's a pity. We missed that by how much? 65.50. We missed that by 5 pips. Entry was missed by 5 pips, but that's all right. Again, maybe we just melt and break through this low right here. But if that's the case, that's okay. So a couple things to learn from. Let's just go a quick recap, okay? Do a quick recap from Monday. Okay, that's when we were trading on Monday, and that was our Tokyo session right here. Again, I find it interesting that in the window between 8 and 9 p.m., there are not a lot of trades that one can take. Okay, so there are 1 to 2, maybe 3 opportunities depending on the session, right? This is the session that we had on Monday. Okay. And on that situation, bear with me a second, admitting people as we go. In that situation, what we've had, right, is a series of lower highs, lower lows, and so forth. We've discussed that. Now, what I was looking for initially, I was looking for a buy right here. That's when we got into a buy, right? But the problem was I placed my stop loss a little too tight. Hopefully, this will be a good learning for you guys, right? So again, this is 8 p.m. this box, and this is 9 p.m. when the trading session stopped, right? So I placed this buy right here, and my stop loss was a little too tight. These wicks is what I highlighted, and pretty much it broke through the wicks. Not with a lot of volume. That's the funny part, right? It just went lower by like 20 pips or so, and then consolidated a little bit. We got into a small long right here, but we exited early. And then we started taking on shorts, which was a mistake, right? Again, why did we take shorts? Is because we considered that on a higher time frame, right? What I was looking out for and what my bias was based on a higher time frame, we were bullish, right? So I said to myself, okay, as long as this low, this wick remains protected, we are bullish, right? That's why I was buying. So what happened here in this particular situation is that we manipulated lower. We swapped the liquidity and we grabbed that liquidity and on go higher. And what I told myself, right, this is considered a liquidity grab only if we break these highs, which we ended up doing anyways, right? And I told myself, hey, look, this is a no trade zone, right? So if we break up higher, we will wait up for a retest and then we will go buy into the new highs. This is pretty much what I did after the session as well, right? So this was a nice buy, right? We break, go lower, we break, and then these wicks are the retest. So you could have taken that opportunity for a nice 100 pips or so, right? Keep that in mind. So again, analysis was correct in a way. The only thing is that we got spooked by this liquidity grab and then we changed our bias to bearish, which was a mistake. But one thing I just want to highlight, there were not too many opportunities. There was probably one sell opportunity and one buy opportunity throughout the Tokyo session. That's why I like to say less is more. You don't need to trade every 5 seconds, right? Get in and get out of your trades every minute. You just need to find a nice setup and follow that. Same as what we're having right now, right? We've had this bearish setup. We couldn't get a perfect entry, but that's fine. Hopefully we get a nice learning off of that. Notice how we tapped into this area, into this low right here. We broke that low, right? That we grabbed the liquidity from there. And there are two things that can happen from here. It could be another liquidity grab, same as on our previous session, right? So this low right here, we had this as a high, and then this becomes a prep area of interest. Once, twice, third time, we go through it, right? Fourth time, etc. So it is an important area of interest if you can see it on the chart, hence why I highlighted that for myself. But again, there are two ways we can go from here. Either number one, this is going to be a liquidity grab and we go higher, which I think is unlikely. If you notice how big the candles are, the bearish candles, we will most probably continue lower. And again, how low can we go? This is based on my fibs right here. Okay. So if I remove this fib here, again, and we reached this full extension. Notice again, my entry wasn't perfect. Again, there was no entry, right? Because I placed it a little too high and it was based on this order block right here, right? This one here. Unfortunately, didn't all the way get there, didn't have time to get in, right? But we perfectly reached this area, right? -61. So that fib has already played out. Simply saying that has played out already. A very, very nice trade with a roughly 2-to-1 risk to reward. If you place your stop loss above the high, it becomes 3 or 4-to-1 risk to reward, which is super nice if you ask me. Now, at this stage, I'm not going to try to catch the bottom, okay? Simply because aside from this support, there is nothing else that I could see, right? So I'm not going to necessarily go into buys. I'll let the price establish a bottom, and then if it provides the right price action, the right candlestick structure, we will go into a buy potentially, right? We could measure the next move. Say this is the low, right? This wick. We will measure this move and we will tell ourselves, okay, we could go into a buy, but it's again against the trend all the way up here somewhere before we continue lower, right? But for that, there has to be a lot of volatility in the market a lot of volume, right? For the price to go all the way back up and then continue lower. Very frequently, price would just, slowly but surely grind to the downside. So anything could happen in this particular case, right? But again, for us to start buying, I'll show you guys what price structure we need to see, something very specific. This Monday's trade shows you guys a very, very nice accumulation right here, okay? So when we go lower, notice these candlesticks formation, right? So we move lower. This is our low. Then we create a high, then we create a higher low, and then equal highs, and then a higher low one more time. This formation is what I would be looking out for, right? For price to properly bottom out and then start to retrace. So again, a low, retracement, a head, retracement, and then a
हाँ,
short, and then retracement, continuation to
देगा
the
क्या नहीं
short.
देगा?
Okay,
देखा?
bear with me. Okay, so that's what I would be looking out for. Hopefully that makes sense, right? I'm not gonna just buy off of just one candle. I would see if the price can bottom out before I could buy, right? It might not happen. It might be very quick like this. If that's the case, I'm not gonna go for a long. I'm just gonna go for a short continuation. Hopefully that makes sense, right? But one more thing, a quick update, right? We had a bit of a prediction as to what's going to happen between Monday and Friday. That's what we drew on the chart on Monday, right? So we said it would go higher, right, to test this area, this gray area, fair value gap, pretty much, and then start going lower, so, right? So we didn't have as much volatility to go all the way down. What we did is more so consolidate to the upside, but I'm very happy to see that the price respected the level, the 71%, and it indeed went higher, right? So I think it just has to shift a little bit like this, and I do believe we will get downside price action very soon, right? Because this move from, show you here, this fib right here, right? So this is the bottom, this is the top, this is our 71%, and we've completed the move to 27, right? So the only reasonable thing from here would be to switch our fib, right, from this low all the way to the high and expect the price to retrace before it continues higher. And in that particular case, I would look for it to come back here, somewhere around this area before we continue higher. That would be a nice price action to expect. This whole area right here would be a nice area from where I'd be looking out for buys, right? This would also align with the previous zone of demand from where the price started pushing higher, right? So maybe towards the end of the week, we'll get some price action. Keep in mind, tomorrow is Thanksgiving in the US, right? So we might not get as much volatility tomorrow, but on Friday, market might move, right? So it's the weekend. Thanksgiving in the US means market is going to be pretty slow, right? But that's what we could get, right? Either towards the end of this week or beginning of next one before our next trading session happens, right? So hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Let's come back to our 1 minute and see what's happening. And that's what I was talking about, right? You see how violently price has gone down? There is nothing that I could be doing here except for staying out, right? I could not place a buy. I missed the entry on a sell. I'm a bit of a perfectionist in that way, right? If I don't get an entry, I don't enter later because that will make my stop loss get bigger, right? So unfortunately, it's a missed short trade for me personally. But again, hopefully the things that I was sharing with you guys along the way, my explanation and my bias and everything else, maybe some of you were able to get into some short-term short trades. Let me check some comments if you guys have any questions. That makes sense for everyone. No comments, guys. No comments since 8:04. Is anyone even alive right here? Or am I just talking with myself? Let me know. Was that valuable? Was that helpful? Does that make sense? Did anyone get into a short at all? We've pretty much covered 120 pips while we are in this session, right? So I don't know if anyone got a short opportunity, but this was a very, very well predicted move, if I shall say that. Okay, let's see. Maybe we get some retracement back up. Do we want to catch some knife? Catch the knife? We can try to do that. Bear with me a second. Bear with me a second, guys. Okay, let's try and go into a long. Okay. It is going to be super risky, but I like how candles are just slowing down. So let's just, for the sake of it, go into a trade. Okay. Buy. Again, please do not repeat, right? Do not try that at home. Let's see. So people are in the zone. Makes sense for most of you guys. All ears. That's good. That's good. Makes sense. Wasn't able to enter a sell. Too late to enter. I agree. If you are too late, do not enter. Yes, yes. Didn't get in. Ah, too bad nobody got in, but that's okay, guys. That would be painful. Nice analysis. Robin sent a 62 entry. Let's check. 62 sell. That was a very nice sell, but again, it was a bit too late for my liking. Okay. So good for Robin. That's actually amazing.
Did you enter the sell earlier for 165?
Who, me?
Yeah.
So it was a missed trade for
Uh,
me. I was waiting for a 71% fib. It didn't get there.
I think
I was
some of
waiting
the
for
people that
71.
attended my call earlier, I think they took some. So those and I see some of the people that are in this call that
Yeah.
attended my call earlier. So you guys should be running about TP2. So you guys know what to do now. Trail your stop loss, put it at break even, whatever you gotta do,
Yeah.
just make sure you secure something. All right.
Be careful because we're going into buys. No, that's good, Brent. That's good. Good stuff. Again, you see, some people would catch the trade, some people would not necessarily catch it. It depends how comfortable people are with the entry. Okay. So once again, in terms of buy opportunity, I would be super risky. I honestly would not recommend anyone to get into buys right now. I'm just doing it for the sake of live trading session. But the only reason I could see a buy is this area of interest right here. Okay. These highs right here, and this area of demand. Okay. That could be possible. But the problem is, let's actually remove some of the fibs right here. The problem is we don't know if this move has been completed or not. Okay. The reason we don't know is because there is nothing to tell us specifically this is a good buying opportunity aside from longer term analysis, right? This is a 61% fib. Okay, good. That's number one confluence. I could look into a buy on like 5 minute time frame. RSI is pretty low. Okay, fine. But again, market trend is to the upside on 5 minute time frame. Yes. But the problem is, one concern is we don't know if the 61% area is good or if the 71% area is going to be good, right? Especially for people who are doing scalping, right? People who are trading like with a 20, 30 pip stop loss, this is going to be too much of a stop loss for you right here, okay? This is going to be 35, 40 pip stop loss, right? So that's too much. And the price could pretty much bounce not from 61, right, but from 71% right here, right? So risky buys and this area, of course, when the price is that low, simply saying I would not sell, right? Let's just make a rule here. When the price moved this much, I'm not looking to sell anymore. This move has either almost been completed or fully completed, right? I'm looking for buys at this stage to kind of see how much price can move back up before continuing lower. And it's not going to be a very strong pullback, but some sort of pullback will happen, right? So you have to be careful, especially when you're placing a trade, because you don't know where your stop loss is going to be. Okay. Be careful about that, for example, because aside from this 71% as a support, the next area would be right here, right? The question is, are you comfortable keeping the trade all the way there from 51 to 41? That's 100 pips. No, right? So again, sometimes avoiding a trade is better than entering a poor trade. I'm just buying some to show you guys a trade example, right? Based off of this level, there is a small probability that it will bounce to a certain extent, right? But once again, it's not a high probability trade. I'm just willing to take that risk from this spot. If it will bounce, it could bounce from here or from there. Hence why I'm ready to take a hit from this level to show you guys from which level you could potentially go long and from where the price could reverse or at least start the retracement of this downside move, right? There are multiple areas from where it could do so. You could do it from here right? It could do it from there, right? Or all the way down here, right? So there are three areas from where we could look for buys, but I'm not necessarily looking for sells anymore, unfortunately, just because price has ran away from us, okay? But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm not even gonna use a stop loss for this trade of mine right now. I might place it at 41.41. Let's do that just to show you how big it's going to be. Okay. 41.41. That's like a how much it is? $600 stop loss, right? That's a lot, right? I'll be honest with you. I would be aiming for $600 in profit, not risking $600. But hey, that's okay. We'll take a stab at it. If we're wrong, that's fine. I like how candles are actually slowing down here and giving us some bullish candles. So let me take the risk and buy one more. Again, guys, this is not a signal. This is very, very risky because the price action has been very bearish and very fast, right? I'm just looking to see if we can get a quick scalp or not, right? If not, that's fine. And I will actually, for the second trade, I will place a stop loss very close. So my TP is going to be around here for like $400 or so. Yeah, from where we had this big candle right here. Okay, and my stop loss is going to be just below the wick. So very, very narrow stop loss. Okay, it's roughly like 20, 25 pips stop loss, somewhere around here. Okay. If anything, I'll just add another trade from lower, but I'm just going to keep that to show that if you have enough capital to keep the trade open, it will actually recover. I'll show you this example from our Monday session. Watch. You remember, if you guys remember, we were taking sells. One sell, two sell, and then third sell, right? So some of my sells got stopped out. This one right here, let's actually go into like 1 minute time frame. I want to teach you guys something important, right? If you have enough capital, you will be able to hold through the move. See. There you go. So we were taking sells, and you see how one stop out, two stop out, three stop outs? There you go, right? That is short-term trading, short-term scalping. But if I keep this trade open, one sell, two sell, and I added a third sell right here, right? So if I'm doing that, and if I have enough capital and enough risk tolerance to hold through the whole upside move, I will take my profits, right? Notice this. One, two, three trades closed in profit. Yes, this wasn't a big drawdown, absolutely, but I knew that the price would come back to these lows overnight. I just did not have the whole night of streaming to keep the stream open, right? And if you guys check the trades, let's check the history. These trades resulted in right here, right? So these sells that I placed on gold, XAU, XAU, this was 400, 1300. So good profits on those trades, right? It was roughly $1,800 in profit, right? But I held through the drawdown. So again, it's just an example to show you guys that if you have enough capital to hold through it and you're confident in your bias, you could do it. It would just take half the evening, right? We sold it between 8 and 9 p.m., right? But it closed around 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., right? Could you sleep with that, right? Yes or no? So that's what I want you guys to keep in mind. But again, on a short term, you would prefer to take a stop loss, right? Not to put your whole account at risk and whole capital at risk. No. Okay, you see how nicely price is developing now? You can see this trade, 40 bucks and $150 in profit. So 200 bucks in profit, both entries in profit right now. Let me show you where I would be taking my profits, okay? Once again, based on this analysis, we measure the move, right, from this high to this low. Okay, we pull our fibs and we look at the RSI. RSI is better on a 3 minute. That will give you more confidence, right? I don't think we'll go back to daily open. That would be too much of a move back up, right? That would be too much of a retracement. But it is probably that we could go here before we continue lower if the volatility is strong enough, once again, right? If there is enough buying pressure from this price action area, right? Then we could come back to this 50% or 60% and take a stab at the short from there, right? So that would be my bias for now. The longs are not bad, but once again, I want to clarify that this was one of the zones from where the long could have played out. I could have been stopped out and re-enter long at 71%, unless market is just melting, right? Then I would be entirely wrong, and that's okay as well, right? Hopefully that makes sense, right? So we did get a nice long off of the low. Obviously, we didn't necessarily catch the short, but the analysis was correct, and I think that's the most important part. It's not all about the money, but it's more so about the thought process there. Brad did snipe. That was really good. Anyone has any questions? Anyone wants to learn something else, understand something new, or once again, can we come back to that conversation? We have like 50 people right here online. How many of you guys are beginners? How many, or not necessarily beginners, sorry, but first timers? It's important for me that all the first timers here understand the concept that we use for trading Tokyo session, at least what I use for myself, right? So please do let me know if you guys are here for the first time. If you have five more people, I'll make sure to explain you guys from a bit of a scratch. Okay, let me see. Okay, so first timer, beginner, got a snipe. Second timer, first timer, beginner. Okay, good. A lot of newbies, a lot of beginners. Yeah, I have 10th timer, Jim. Jim is a veteran in this game, I guess. Okay, good. New to trading, Philippines, first timer, newbies, intermediate. Good. A lot of newbies, right? And a lot of first timers. So let's just come back to while we're waiting for the trade to play out. Let me just mark it up on the chart. Okay, I have the trade around 50.8. That's the buy. I will exit that 50.8 from here buy. I will exit that around 58. Okay. Even if the price pushes higher, that's okay. That's going to be a nice 75 pips ish on a long trade. Okay. So I'll be happy enough with that retracement. And I would start to eye some shorts, right? Because again, see how RSI is already at the top. So getting into a risky area, what I when trade is so profit, trade in 100. I mean, it isn't right, but what matters is how far the price is from your entry. Stop to break even, please, for the mercy of God. Stop break even. You don't want to have a trade that's been running such a night going toss. Ooh, something's up. See, my internet connection bad. Can you guys still see me? Can you guys still hear me? Just checking if the connection is still there on the Zoom. Okay, yes. Okay, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, guys. It's not my home Wi-Fi, so bear with me. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I figured it was chippy because I tried to place the order and it wouldn't go through. You see, order has been sent to the server. Okay, I will take my profit at 58 on both trades. It's going to be a nice $600 trade if we are right. Your brand comes through. Come say hi, brand. Did you catch the sell?
I told him earlier.
Did you catch? Hey, this guy caught the sell. This
Ooh.
is Brand, our community leader.
Oh yeah, that was the entry as well
You got it?
for the buy.
You got the buy too? Did you send
No,
it out?
I just analyze it for I don't
Okay, that's good. That's good.
because the
It
50%.
was such a pity, brother. Look at this one. Look, I missed it by
Because Zona was calling it out too.
Zonar
Basic.
was actually calling out buys.
Yeah, I know. No, it sells on the 15,
Oh, on
one
the higher
hour,
time frame, yeah.
4 hour,
Brother,
three
look, I
hours.
missed this by 5 pips. 5 pip miss.
No, that's the thing with especially when you're trading with P Prime, you gotta always
Layer your entry if you can. Yeah,
put it
but the buy
on
is
the
nice. The buy is nice. We'll see. We'll see. Well, I want to switch back to shorts, but this move was so aggressive.
right
You know
here,
what I mean?
50%, right? On the fair value gap on the 5 minute.
Yeah, yeah. It was a fit. It was even. Yeah, it was
Perfect
61
right
right
there.
here.
Boom.
61. Perfect. 61
I
tap.
just draw square boxes.
Same.
Right here, square boxes, put it
Same,
there
same, same, same,
for
same.
scalping
Hey,
though.
the funny part is, you see, the whole community guys in PrimeVerse were using very similar concepts, even if they're named different. But I like to see how our areas and our zones align, right, with everybody. So, like, if I saw this one, you saw that one as
Mhm.
well, right? Even if you use different analysis methods. So that's nice. That's very good. Should we exit our trade?
Let's
Appreciate
see,
it,
bro.
brother.
That's good. That's everyone's winning. I'm happy.
That's good. Yeah, if the community is eating, that's all that matters. Okay, we are getting a bit of a bearish momentum, right? Couple bearish candles. We don't want the price to go down unless we go into a short trade ourselves. Let's do this. I'll start to exit at 50% or so. So around 57, that's where I will exit my buys. Just got to be a little more conservative. 57-ish. Okay, do that. And that's when we will be aiming to go into into sells as well from that area to see if we can continue lower. But come back to my chat, my lovely chat. Let's check. How did I see the sell entry, Jeff? Good question. Let's actually recap this one, right? Okay. And that's going to be a nice discussion for our beginners anyways, right? So once again, we had the daily level marked up, right? This purple line is our daily level. Let's come back to the whole conversation of, people who are first timers and what we use. This line right here is our daily open candle. If you go to the daily time frame, this is where the day opened up, right? Right there, right? So what I do is I use the magnet, I use the tool of horizontal ray, and I just pop it on the chart, right? And then when this pops up, I put it on where the candle opened up for the day. It's always going to be an important level, especially during first 1, 2, 3 hours of the session when the price is hovering around that level. I marked up the 1 hour chart as well. So you see how this candle right here, that's from where the bearish momentum started. And you see how many wicks we've had. 1, 2, 3, 4 wicks around that 1 hour candle, right? That's where the body of the candle came through. So that was an important area of range where we had the bullish daily candle before we popped lower. Now, what's important is on a smaller time frame, you guys can clearly see as a broad day, right? As I highlighted for most people who joined, the price action, right? So we have the daily open right here. We supported that, and the third time we supported that, and the fourth time. So it's a straight line which has been tested multiple times. But then we had the high established, a lower high, another lower high, and then final lower high. Price can only come back so many times, right? It's a simple trend line for all that matters, right? So it was this very, very clear sell signal right there. Again, based on price action. And what you measure is RSI being that high right here. That was a confirmation to go into sells. So what you would measure from the previous RSI to the low, right? That's your measurement right there. We tapped the 61%. We unfortunately didn't tap the 71, so I wasn't able to go into a sell trade there, right? But that's why I saw the sell signal. Simple as that, right? As soon as we open up the Tokyo session, we're going lower and lower and lower, right? And the rules that we use in our trading, let's come back to our rules, right? This is the market structure. Comes back, lower high, lower low, lower high, and created a lower low. So hopefully that makes sense, right? That is what we're looking out for when we're placing trades and when we are looking to establish a bias for a particular session, right? If we bring that over from last trading session that we've had, these are the rules that we use, right? Three confirmations, general market trend. What was it? It was bearish, right? We created a lower high, lower high, lower high. RSI was high. Yes, it was right here, right? And then we've had our Fibonacci levels as well. So we had three different things aligned, and that was a clear as a broad day that we should take a sell. I did not expect it to be as violent. I'll be honest with you, right? It's sold off more than it did during the New York, right? New York session was choppy as hell, right? If you can see, this was 120 pips only in terms of downside move. Right here, we've had 150 pips to the downside in a matter of minutes, right? So it was even more volatile than the New York session sell off after lunch, right? So you see how we tested this one with multiple wicks and we're going lower now, big candle to the downside. So I don't think we're going to go much higher from here. There you go. You see. Very, very strong bearish candle. Most probably I would have been taken out at break even. Not yet, but most probably I will be. Right. Again, most important is if your trade goes in profit, at least it doesn't go into a big loss. I think that's what matters a lot, right? So hopefully that was useful, right, for Jeff. I'll ask the question, how did we see a sell? Let me check if there are some questions. For our beginners, one more time, come back to this real quick. We mark up our levels, right? This chart might look a little messy for you guys, but this is something that we've meticulously created for the past 3, 4, 5, 6 live webinars, right? These levels have been there since our previous webinars, and all these levels play an important role, and we keep them even once we move into the new week, right? So we have the weekly candle, blue color for the weekly open, WO. For the purple color, we have our daily open candle right there, daily open, right? So that's there. And then we mark up our important levels. For example, this red line is the previous day. Look at this huge bearish candle. It's important to mark that up because you can see clearly that price has retested the body with this wick right here, right? So this is what creates for you guys those important levels, right? And then this one right here, also bearish candle, bearish candle. We have the weekly open. We have the previous weekly open from there, right? So I mark up multiple weeks, previous week, this week, another week right there, previous week. So weekly and daily candles play an important role in trading. And then for today, we had marked up the 4 hour, right? So if we go all the way down, we can come back to this 4 hour, and that's from where we can get the reaction back to the upside. And then I've marked up that 1 hour candle as well, right? That 1 hour candle right here, that's what confirmed for me we are bias bearish. Okay. And notice how these zones are playing out nicely as well, right? So not everything has to be a line. Sometimes it could be just a zone that you're highlighting because if you have a lot of lines, it's going to get way too messy. Give me a second. Miss some more people. But you see these candles right here, right? These 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, bearish bullish, right here. This is an important area, right? And even if you zoom in on the 30-minute, it is going to be visible for you guys that this is an important zone. This one right here from where we had the reversal, right? This wick right here. All of those zones are important. Sometimes you will start seeing it with your eyes, right? Because I was marking up these levels while I was talking to you guys. So again, just develop this vision that when you see, for example, let me remove everything, hide drawings, right? You can clearly see, right, that right here, price has reversed. This is also the previous high. This is your top-down analysis 101, right? So mark up those levels that you think are important based on how price is developing. The body, the wick, it will all play a crucial role right here. 1, 2, 3 times and so forth. We've tested that so many times that it's important we mark that up and play based on that, right? This area right here, I'm pretty sure we'll test it sooner or later, and this will be a key level, right? So we got saved. We didn't get exited at break even. Price has decided to come back up a little bit. Okay, so we're above. Both buys are still in profit. I'd love to close that out and switch to a short, but now, watch, important. This 38% is no longer relevant, in my opinion. Remove that. Now, what you guys will see, fib from the bottom, call me fib guy, right? Fibs are my everything, to be honest with you, because everything can be explained with that as well, right? Whether it's an order block, a fair value gap, or a fib, everything will align, right? Why we came back here? Simple, because of these wicks right here and these bodies, right? This was a resistance. We broke through it and retested that area right there, right? Or an order block, whatever you want to call it, right? On Zonar, we'll probably highlight this as an order block right here. You see, order block, this whole purple area right there, right? And notice how nicely, love it. Love when things align, guys. Zonar, our tool for analyzing charts, right? And showing you guys entries. Where does Zonar have a long entry? Please, can anyone tell me? Where does Zonar show a buy entry? Precisely where we entered. Where does Zonar show a stop loss? Precisely where we have our stop loss placed. Where does Zonar show our TP? I'm sorry to say that the third time, precisely where our TP is. Did I use Zonar just yet? No, I haven't. But just notice how Zonar aligns with what our educators are showing you guys, right? I don't even necessarily need to use Zonar to arrive at the levels that I'm arriving at. But for you guys, right, who are beginners, who are just getting started in your trading journey, imagine how much easier your life would be if you don't have all these drawings. Simple entry, simple TPs, right? And then as you grow as a trader, as you learn more, as you educate yourself, you will start to understand all of that as well, right? This just makes, my life more complicated, gets my hair gray, and my hair starts falling off because I've been at it for 10 years, right? But for you guys, that's why we created all these tools, right? To make your life easier. You follow the educators through webinars, you learn the concepts, and then you pop the zoner on, and it just shows you all the same things. Notice how TP3 is precisely where our fib extension is and 61 area is, right? So yeah, I'm not saying Zonar is built on what I teach. My approach is a little bit different, right? But Zonar is built on smart money concepts, which are very, very similar to what I use. I just call things different. Okay. So hopefully that's helpful. Let me see if there are some questions. I love to see when Zonar aligns with what I have. Is the sell entry rules same apply to buy entry? Yes, right? So notice how, and then I revealed PrimeVerse secret. Dennis is Zonar. No, I'm not Zonar, right? But I like to see when Zonar aligns with what I teach. It's very happy moments for me to see when I'm explaining a certain concept and Zonar is showing you the same thing, right? That just means for me that this is an additional confirmation, right? Again, I have Zonar here for a reason as a fourth confirmation. So that just gives me confidence, right? To pop another entry in, right? For example, I think we got stopped out at break even. Yeah, there you go. So I'll just pop back another entry buy right there, right? That'll just give me a confirmation that Zonar is on my side, my analysis is on my side. Then why not pop an entry right here? And then anybody who's asking, hey, did you enter? Look, price just gave you a nice retest opportunity right there based on Zonar, based on my analysis. So, of course, why not to enter? And I'm going to place my stop loss based on Zonar just below the low and take profit just above the high, right? Boom, there you go. So once again, even though I got exited at break even, I got a perfect opportunity to re-enter, and I'm just going to keep my stop loss where it is because price had the chance to retest the area, right? So amazing buy opportunity right here. If nobody entered, feel free. Hopefully you guys were able to enter, right? 41.51-ish with the take profits all the way to 41.57 or 41.58 around that area. Okay. But yeah, I love to see how Zonar aligns. Loretta says it's impressive. Appreciate it, Loretta. Zonar also appreciates your comments, guys. If you like the session so far, it's been 45 minutes in. Please type some W's in the chat. I love my W's. Okay. Let me know you guys been active. Let me know you guys been watching. I appreciate it, you guys. Let me see how many W's we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, a lot of W's in the chat. A lot of W's in the chat, guys. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. Truly. Thank you. It means a lot, right? At least I can see if we're not getting a lot of comments or questions, I can see you guys are paying attention. Imagine you guys are just taking care of your daily life, which is, we have a lot of things to take care of, especially in the evenings, but I can see your participation. That means at least you don't have me on mute. That is important. Question, do I have Instagram? Yes, I do. Let me actually type it in the chat. My username on Instagram is DBX Trades. Okay. Feel free to give me a follow on Insta. I'm always happy to share some more entries on Instagram. I show some important information over there as well. Let me show you guys real quick my Instagram page. I'm gonna be opening up a browser, but give me a follow if you enjoy the session. I'm building my follow base. I'm not very, public on Instagram per se, right? But I I am actively growing my followers. So DBX Trades, I'm partnered with P Prime. I've been trading for 10 years. If you guys go in through my posts, right? I started posting a lot more videos these days, right? But if you guys go back into the history because the team that we have teaching you guys gives you guys credibility and confirmation that the person who's teaching you things has been doing this for a long time, right? Look at the first screenshot. Just gonna show you guys. This is my first post on Instagram. Look at the date, okay? December 2018. I've been at it publicly since December 2018 in the Forex space. I've been trading half a lot already in 2019, right? So it's been so long I've been at it and I've been showing people publicly small accounts, small growth, full proofs, everything, right? FTMO, if you guys are familiar with the funding companies, I've been doing it in 2019, right? So once again, it's important that with PrimeVerse, people who you're learning from are credible educators. And my page is probably the living proof of that, right? Appreciate the follows, guys. So once again, follow, it's DBX trades. Let's check if we have anything else on the radar for our trade and how it's doing. Appreciate the shout outs. Let's see what's happening. Okay, price is very slow right now around this area, but I'm still confident in this trade unless we break this low. Okay, so this trade would be a nice one. Notice how RSI is popping lower. We're reaching that fib area as well, right? So no sells from here either, but a nice buy opportunity would be still present. How do I exit the Brave browser? Bear with me a second. Okay, just too many apps open for me at a time. Would overload my computer. Okay, so once again, buys are still valid from here, right? Keep in mind that we could overshoot this low, but I'd love for the price to come and retest this area. Okay, this area around 41.58-ish. That would be a nice retest, and at least what I would be looking out for is to sell. If the price goes up there, I would be looking to sell. Okay. I'll be looking to sell back into that zone, right? We did have a retest, not quite, did not get there. We had some wick rejections, etc. Notice how RSI got high on a 3-minute time frame and candles are moving lower, right? So could get a pop down to the 71 area, right? Based on the fib and then pop higher from there. If anything, I'll be happy to add to my trade from there, right? But once again, this was based on Zonar, based on my personal analysis. We are, candle is pretty violent, this one, I'll be honest with you. But we'll see. Let me actually extend my stop loss. I don't want to take a loss on this particular trade, and I'm pretty confident that it will pop higher. And let me actually add another buy right here. Okay, so I have 3 buys already stacked, layered. I will take my profits around 58 though. Again, there was a question from Nimesha on stop loss, right? Stop loss based on Zonar, please mind you, is right here, right? If you're buying right now, stop loss is going to be right there and no lower than that. I don't want you guys risking half of your account, right, on this particular trade. The philosophy behind trading is to manage your risk. I can afford to take on more risk because my account is A, nicely in profit, B, it's a large size account, right? But if you're trading with 100, 200, $500 and you want to make sure you're managing your risk, your stop loss is going to be at 48, right? And then if anything, if you see the right price action, we will re-enter from 46, right? That's the proper approach, right? That is safer approach with a better risk to reward. Better to take 1% loss here and re-enter than just to have your stop loss all the way God knows where, right? And then have your account blown in one trade. It's not necessarily what we want, okay? For TP1, TP2, TP3, do we have 3 entries too? Yes. So usually you would layer your entries, right? Exactly. So Zonar can either, Zonar will show you 3 TP areas, right? But what's important with this situation is there are 2 ways you can go about it. One way is place 3 entries, right? So if you're trading 0.03 total, place 3 entries of 0.01, right? That's option number one. Option number two is to actually manually exit in partials, right? So there is a way that you can exit on MetaTrader a portion of your position, right? If I'm trading 0.1, I can close 0.03 at TP1 and so forth, okay? be honest with you guys, don't like this price action. Notice how we're tapping the lows. What is possible here is that we will quickly tap lower and then go higher from there, right? I do not believe that this will hold. So it could tap lower and then retrace up, right? So for some sort of head and shoulders pattern, reverse head and shoulders, right? So we could break through this level all the way to 71 and then come higher, right? If anything, what we would be waiting out for the next buy opportunity, is for the price to create a strong move to the upside, right? If it does so, then we can see, okay, the trend has shifted to the upside because right now what we've done, right, simply saying is we created a high, created a low, and created a lower high just now, right? So it is a high probability that we will create another lower low, right? So be careful. That's what I'm saying, right? It's unlikely that this will hold if we break this candle right here. If we break this candle, this body of the candle, we will push lower, right? Keep that in mind. Okay, see if there are any questions. Next lesson, fibs. For sure. Let's do fibs on Monday. We can actually spend a lot of time on fibs, right? They're simple, but you have to understand how to look at them and how to see them. So please come on Monday. Let me actually dedicate 10, 15 minutes to fibs, and we will look at the examples on gold as to how you can utilize fibs in trends. Okay. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Cody. Is it Cody or is it Odie? But I appreciate it. ODS. Thank you. I love when people request something to learn, right? So please, that's why I'm saying don't be shy, right? For me, this is my bread and butter. For me, I've been doing this for 10 years. This looks simple to me, right? But you might be coming in and you'd be like, hey, what the hell is he talking about the market structure, right? What the hell does lower high and lower low mean, right? What are those arrows that he's drawing, right? If that is confusing to you, right? If what I'm showing you here is confusing, do let me know, right? For me, this is bread and butter once again, as I mentioned, but maybe we want to discuss it further and you will learn something new for yourself based on that, right? Or RSI, right? If you want to learn RSI separately, please let me know. We will discuss RSI and how we utilize it in our trades. What is my favorite commodity to trade? Andy, that is gold for sure. With the way it's volatile right now, with the way it's at all-time highs, gold is probably the best commodity to trade. Nothing will stand near. Oil, silver, nothing. Soybeans, corn, wheat, all those commodities are slow and long-term swing trades, which you have to hold for a month or at least a week. Unlike gold, where you can take opportunity like this and double your account if you go all in, right? So gold is definitely favorite commodity just due to the volatility of it, how much you can take advantage of the leverage on gold as well, right? Versus other commodities that move super slow. Simple as that. Does the fib indicator from TradingView only? I cannot find it in Meta app. So MetaTrader app has fibs. Okay. I just don't use the fibs on MetaTrader. I think they are somewhere. Let's see, right here. So if you go into object and you go lower Fibonacci retracement right here on MetaTrader, right? But you have to set it up. That's the problem, right? You have to set it up and it doesn't look very nice. I mean, it shows you the things you want to look out for, right? 61% and stuff like that. But now I don't even know how to remove it. My life just got hotter. I'm very bad at drawing indicators on MetaTrader. So now this will stay with us until the end of the session. But again, it shows you nicely that the take profit areas are between 61 and 50%. So we're on the right trajectory, even based on MetaTrader. Let's see, objects. I think I can do it. Boom. It's just so much work on the computer. Can I just delete it somehow? There you go. Delete. Yes. Okay, there you go. I like to have my MetaTrader chart clean, but it is available on MetaTrader. For your own sake, use it on TradingView because you set it up once and that's it. Also, one more thing on TradingView. Let me show you guys a clean example, okay? the way you set it up, right, is from top to the bottom, right? So this is your point one. You measure this move. And when you measure this move, you can see that it comes to these areas of a retracement, right? Of course, there is some movement in between. Nothing goes straight up or straight down. It needs time to consolidate. When this moves down, you measure this whole move. You know it comes back here, consolidates, right? And you see how it cannot break the 78. Then you can see this 27 and 61%. Those are your two valid targets, right? So on TradingView, I can actually set it up as a target, not only how far it will come back up, but how much further can it go down, right? So simply saying, just by understanding this move here, I can already tell that two things will happen. This move back up, and after that, continuation all the way there. So just analyzing one move from New York session right here. This tells me a whole story, right? That is not guesswork. That is just raw analysis, right? Once you can see that the price came down and retraced, you can easily identify that the price will come here, here, and here. Three TP levels if your entry is right there, right? That's the thing with the fibs. So I use the extensions 27 and 61. Okay. Trade is nicely trailing to the upside. So again, I think it's a 2 for 2. We called the sells, didn't have time to enter. And we called the buys. We tripled our entry. We added one more, right? So if we are going based off Zonar, I should have probably taken my profit already on one of the trades. Let's check. Yeah, it reached TP1, right? So I should take my profit here, right? And then TP2, TP3 if we get there, right? So let's do that. Okay. Very bad at closing trades on the computer, but let me try and do that on my phone. So we'll close one trade, this one right here. Boom, TP1 hit, done. Then we will place our TP2 at 56.5 and 59. That's where we'll place our two other TPs. 59-ish, boom. And then for our other trade, take profit 56.5 right there. But there you go. So these are our two next TP targets, right? I think they should hit. But that is it for today, guys. Time flies when you're having fun. Hopefully you guys had fun. Hopefully you learned something important from today. Just check. How to be my coach. Hey, Harvey, you know what? I'll come to you now and we'll talk about it. Okay. Coach me on usage of MetaTrader 5 on my computer. Okay. I'm not a computer expert. I'm a dinosaur. Sorry, but I started trading 10 years ago. Thank you guys. Once again, appreciate everybody's attendance. Appreciate everybody's input. I want you guys to have a very blessed evening. Want to say thank you for this amazing day. Want to be grateful for everything that we have. And I want to say thank you for showing up, for participating. Let's keep crushing it. And we will meet again on Monday and we'll take it from there. All right. Stay blessed, stay humble, continue learning something new every day, and appreciate the things that we have, even the little things that we have. Say thank you, grace to God, and God will provide. Thank you guys. Once again, cheers, everybody. Thank you for your show up. Thank you for your amazing support. More to come. And stay with PrimeVerse. Stay strong. Talk soon.